If you've ever felt like the very systems designed to protect people somehow always seem to work against your autonomy and independence, you're not imagining it. Maybe it's family traditions that require you to sacrifice your boundaries for keeping the peace. Maybe it's legal systems that prioritize maintaining family unity over protecting individual well-being. Maybe it's cultural expectations that frame your self-protection as selfishness and your boundaries as betrayal. You might have experienced this when trying to limit contact with toxic family members, only to face a chorus of voices telling you that family is family and you owe them access regardless of how they treat you. Or when seeking legal protection, only to discover that emotional abuse isn't recognized as seriously as physical abuse, leaving you with little recourse for the psychological damage done to you. Welcome back to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'm Lynn, your host. Today, we're examining structural undermining, how laws, customs, and societal expectations can be weaponized to erode your autonomy under the guise of protection or tradition. We'll explore how these external systems often reinforce narcissistic dynamics and why recognizing this pattern is crucial for your recovery. Structural undermining happens when the very frameworks meant to create safety and order instead become tools that limit your freedom to protect yourself from harm. In narcissistic family systems and relationships, these structures provide convenient cover for control and manipulation. This isn't about rejecting all laws or customs. Many serve important protective functions, but narcissists are masterful at identifying which structural elements they can exploit to maintain power over you while appearing reasonable, even righteous in their demands. Family loyalty customs are often the first line of structural undermining. These unwritten rules dictate that family relationships should be preserved at all costs, that blood is thicker than water, and that cutting contact with family members represents moral failure. These customs don't distinguish between healthy family bonds and toxic family dynamics. You might have experienced pressure to attend family gatherings where you know you'll be subjected to abuse, criticism, or manipulation. When you express reluctance, you're told you're being dramatic, ungrateful, or selfish. The custom of family togetherness becomes a weapon used to force your compliance with your own mistreatment. Religious or spiritual frameworks can also be exploited this way. Concepts like forgiveness, turning the other cheek, honoring parents, or maintaining family unity get twisted to shame you into accepting abuse. Your spiritual growth gets redefined as your ability to tolerate mistreatment without complaint. Legal systems present another avenue for structural undermining. Many laws around family relationships, elder care, inheritance, and divorce assume that family members act in good faith toward each other. When dealing with narcissistic dynamics, these assumptions become vulnerabilities that can be exploited. You might find yourself legally obligated to provide care for someone who has emotionally devastated you for years, or discover that courts prioritize maintaining parent-child relationships, even when those relationships cause psychological harm, or learn that financial abuse is difficult to prove and prosecute, leaving you with little legal recourse for economic manipulation. Healthcare systems can reinforce these patterns by focusing on family involvement in treatment decisions without adequately screening for abuse dynamics. Mental health professionals might encourage family reconciliation without fully understanding the toxicity involved, inadvertently pressuring you back into harmful situations. Educational institutions often defer to parental authority, even when that authority is being used to control rather than protect. Your educational choices, career path, and even personal relationships might be subject to family approval backed by institutional support. Financial systems can create structural dependencies that narcissists exploit. Joint accounts, shared credit, family businesses, or inheritance structures that require ongoing family connection can trap you in relationships you'd otherwise leave.
Dreaming of getting the all-new iPhone 17 Pro designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever?
Then stay in bed and let a Boost Mobile expert deliver and set it up for you.
Oh, actually, they will have to get up and open the door.
Oh, right.
Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms apply.
Cultural expectations around gender roles, age, and family hierarchies provide additional ammunition for structural undermining. You might be expected to sacrifice your career for family caregiving, defer to older family members regardless of their behavior, or accept different standards of treatment based on your role in the family system. What makes structural undermining so insidious is that it cloaks control in the language of virtue, protection, and social order. When you resist these structures, you're not just fighting one person, you're challenging systems that appear legitimate and necessary. This makes your resistance look unreasonable while making their control look justified. The narcissist doesn't need to convince you directly that you owe them access or compliance. Society, law, custom, and tradition do that work for them. They just need to invoke these authorities to shame you into submission. This creates a double bind where protecting yourself requires violating social expectations, while conforming to social expectations requires accepting harm. Either choice leaves you vulnerable to criticism and makes your position appear indefensible. Understanding structural undermining helps you recognize that your struggle isn't just personal, it's systemic. The difficulty you experience in establishing boundaries or seeking protection isn't a sign of your weakness or failure. It's evidence of how thoroughly these systems can be co-opted to serve narcissistic agendas. Recognizing structural undermining also reveals why your recovery feels so challenging. You're not just healing from individual trauma. You're working against structural forces that reinforce the very dynamics that harmed you. Recovery becomes an act of resistance against systems designed to keep you compliant. This awareness doesn't mean you're powerless against these structures, but it does mean acknowledging the full scope of what you're working against. Sometimes protection requires working within these systems strategically. Sometimes it requires working around them. And sometimes it requires accepting that these systems won't protect you and creating your own forms of safety. Your autonomy is not negotiable, regardless of what laws, customs, or traditions suggest you owe to others. Your well-being matters more than social expectations that would sacrifice your safety for other people's comfort or convenience. The structures that truly serve you will enhance your autonomy and protection, not erode them. When systems consistently work against your ability to protect yourself from harm, those systems need to be questioned, not your resistance to them. As you reflect on your own experience, can you identify specific laws, customs, or social expectations that have been used to undermine your autonomy and keep you connected to harmful relationships? Thanks for being here today and for doing this work. I know talking about scapegoating brings up a lot, and I'm honored you're trusting me with this part of your journey. Before we wrap up, I want to make sure you know about a couple of things that might help. If you're working through the grief that comes with family estrangement or realizing who these people really were, I've put together a grief recovery workbook that walks you through that process. It's designed specifically for those of us grieving relationships that looked nothing like what we thought they were. You can grab that at waketheelephant.gumroad movingforwardafterabuse.com. And for additional resources, head over to our website at movingforwardafterabuse.com. This is Lynn, and this has been another episode of the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'll see you in the next one. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. The content shared is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis, please seek help from a qualified professional or contact a local crisis hotline.
What does it mean to live a rich life? It means brave first leaps, tearful goodbyes, and everything in between. With over 100 years' experience navigating the ups and downs of the market and of life, your Edward Jones financial advisor will be there to help you move ahead with confidence. Because with all you've done to find your rich, we'll do all we can to help you keep enjoying it. Edward Jones, member SIPC.